As all of us are aware that are gathered here this morning, the New Testament contains 4 different accounts of the life of Jesus: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. John is generally considered the most spiritual of the Gospels. Mark, the earliest of the Gospels, is a bare bones kind of account of the life of Jesus. It was as though the author really wanted to get down very quickly what had happened so it would not be forgotten. The Gospel of Matthew was an attempt to write to the Hebrew people about how Jesus fulfilled all the prophecies that were contained in the Hebrew Scriptures. The Gospel of Luke, from which our lesson this morning is taken, was an attempt by the physician Luke to write an accurate account of the life of Jesus in order to convert the Gentiles. So each of those 4 accounts, while they told in a sense the same story, had a different audience. And the question we have this morning is, where would we be without those storytellers? Well, that's what they were. They told the story over and over again so that we might have it and might believe. The Venerable Bede, a name that some of you might recognize, wrote a wonderful ecclesiastical history of the English people. And in it, he too talked about all the storytellers that had translated the faith onto people. He mentions specifically people like St. Cuthbert and St. Aidan, who simply went about the countryside, not trying to do much of anything other than tell the story as it impacted their lives. Hear that. Telling the story as it impacted their lives. Because of those storytellers and many like them, down through the centuries, we still have the story. But it has been said about Christianity that Christianity only exists from one generation to the next if we tell the story. If we don't tell the story, our faith would go away. I say that to you this morning because over the last 2 months, I've come to know you as individuals and as a parish family. I have come to see you at work. I've seen how you reach into the community and how you care for people. And I'm impressed by your activities. But I want to raise a question with you this morning. And that question is, how well do you tell your story? How well do you go into the byways and say to people, you know, this is what Jesus has meant in my life. This is what the parish of St. Stephen's has meant in my life. This is what the people of St. Stephen's have meant in my life. Some of you may be sitting there saying, well, I'm not a good storyteller. And I don't do that kind of thing very well. And what I would say to you is, tell your story. Don't worry. Please don't worry about how good a storyteller you are. What's important is that you tell the story. Go into all the byways and countryside and wherever you meet people. Be like Matthew and Mark and Luke and John. Be like St. Cuthbert and St. Aidan and the countless others down through the ages who took it upon themselves to tell the story. on my last Sunday with you, I urge you, tell that story. Reach out to people. Let them know. And you will make a difference. Amen.